Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. Let's get going on today's episode. It is so true that when you no longer feel anything towards a person, they cease to have any power over you. No resentment, no anger, no responsibility, no regrets, no what ifs, nothing. And even after moving through the layers of empathy and compassion, not even those emotions. You recognize what it all was, and you recognize why these people were in your experience, but there is no need to think about them, and definitely no obsessional urge to. This is because you've graduated. This person and what they represent have become not your reality. So often I quote Prema Chodron's famous words on my blog. Nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know, because it relates to our healing from narcissistic abuse so much. And the total truth is, when we've learnt what we needed to and we've healed what we needed to, then the narcissistic nightmare is over truly, even in extreme cases such as when co-parenting. It really is. So please don't beat yourself up or think that you're doing it wrong if you've not yet got there to where the narcissist is not your reality. This is a journey, it's a process, as it was for all of us. And be kind and loving to yourself. It takes as long as it needs to. And the purpose of this episode is not to shame you, it's to inspire you to know that getting there to that conclusion is possible, and to give you the promise of what happens when you unravel and release all of the stuff that was the unconscious glue keeping you stuck in this, and knowing that it is 100% possible to detox ourselves up and out of the horror of narcissistic abuse and narcissistic people. And we do this by creating ourselves at a frequency where narcissism, narcissists, and narcissistic abuse is not our reality. We can't do this by changing circumstances outside of us. We can do this by deeply changing who we were being within the hold of our internal traumas to who we really are without them. When we've done the work on our original wounds and we've accepted self-partnering and up-leveling as a lifestyle, which really is the commitment to our inner being of, I will eternally release you from trauma and replace it with love and well-being, we are moving further and further into our true self-function, authenticity, meaning we are glowing with radiance and sharing that with the world without fear. And how can we not, when space, well-being and joy is coming into ourselves where fear used to be? What is happening is we're moving higher and higher into vibration and moving beyond unconsciousness. Unconsciousness is fear and judgment and trying to work with life from the outside in, holding others responsible, not being humble and real with the understandings that our traumas and painful childhood and generational belief systems collude to create more of themselves with life. And if we want to change our life, the only way to genuinely do that is to love and heal those parts of ourselves back to wholeness. We also need to target and heal our tendency to, when we have unhealed inner children inside our adult bodies running our life. The holding of other people responsible for our own levels of love, approval, survival, and security. Dire unconsciousness is where narcissists vibrate. They don't take personal responsibility for their inner traumas, and to them it is everyone else's fault. And when we're in our own traumas and are not as yet self-partnered and taking responsibility to release our own trauma and resurrect our own parts back to health, we are on that wounded trajectory too. Yet when we graduate, when we become a new self who is heading towards the revealing of our true self, of being freed of wounds, we start being in a completely different universe, truly. One where narcissism literally does not exist. I promise you that that is the world that you can move into. It was funny last year when I went on a cruise and a member of the community asked me, were there many narcs there on the boat? And I was kind of taken aback, not because I thought it was an inappropriate question given that this person is still going through recovery, but because I realised I'd not even given that one thought while I was on the cruise. In fact, I never give it a thought anywhere. I simply just live life as being myself. I want to explain to you a very powerful myth that relates exactly to narcissism. Vampires. Vampires suck people's blood and corrupt their souls just as narcissists do, absolutely. What is the inoculation against vampires apart from garlic, crosses and holy water? Daylight. Vampires can't exist where there is light. Just as narcissists can't exist in the presence of a person who is a true self, meaning someone who is no longer living in the shadows, is releasing their trauma and is fully dedicated to shining as their true self. When we are solidly anchored into a firm commitment to be a true self and have healed enough wounds that we are willing to show up in authenticity, we have as much fear of being taken in by a narcissist as having Dracula leap out and attack us. What does getting to the level of being able to be in the world with no fear of narcissistic people look like? It looks like fully being yourself. No dimming down, hiding out, or telling people what you think they want to hear. It's about living your life in integrity, emanating from a solid, truthful center within. And please don't mistake this for thinking I'm saying wrestle narcissists to the ground with your truth. I'm not. I'm not saying lecture and prescribe and try and change them. I'm saying listen to your intuition, show up, have the difficult conversations if necessary to clarify what your gut is squirming about. And then if someone or something is not a match for your truth, let go and move on with integrity. No longer holding them responsible for your own levels of love, approval, security, and survival. That as an adult, you are responsible for generating for yourself. Truly, we roll around with narcissists, making them our reality when we still have some part of us unhealed that the narcissist is hooking us through, such as our beliefs of not being trusted, or fears of abandonment, or terrors of being replaced, or hating the injustice, accusations, and double standards, or the horrible feelings of feeling invisible or unworthy, or whatever traumas we suffered in our childhood that are unhealed. Yet, just working with our traumas and beliefs that relate to the narcissist, our parents and our ancestors may release our obsessions and trauma regarding the narcissist in our life, yet they are not enough to heal the fear of narcissistic people in general. We need to go deeper. We need to go to our traumas and beliefs that we're not just about specific people, but we're about humanity itself. Do we have the beliefs humans aren't safe, humans can hurt me, evil exists? Do these beliefs cause us to be operating from a position of constriction and fear? Of course, from a normal human perspective, this is very normal and also totally sensible, especially after being narcissistically abused. We think that looking out into our world and scoping it is the best way to have a safe existence. Yet when we understand quantum laws, so within, so without, we can start to shift to a deeper, more powerful truth. That all of life adores and supports us by giving us more of what our present belief systems are. And if we want to change our life experience, we need to change our present belief systems. And as the generative source of our own energetic and real life experience, why would we defend and have fear when we know that it's only going to grant us the evidence of what we expect? When we go quantum, we take our focus off the scoping of the outside as a reaction to our fears. And instead we go to the fears directly inside us and we release those instead. And when we do that, an infinite understanding and infinite intelligence starts to make itself known within us that we don't need fear to be safe. Life aligns with us so much when we align with ourselves and we receive all the prompts and the intuitions we need to be safe if necessary. And we also receive incredible support from life that confirms to us time and time again that life has our back. We realise that fear causes us to hand our power over. Awareness from a solid inner centre about what we need to do doesn't. Life, self and others are one. They are all interconnected, let me explain. If we don't trust the process of life, meaning a benevolent higher power that wants the best for you, and is always efforting to take you to the highest and best version of yourself, whether you want to call that consciousness, creation, life force, or God, then there is no ability to truly trust yourself and others. If you don't trust yourself, then you will never trust the processes of life. If you don't trust life and yourself, then you can't trust others. Yet the ultimate truth is there is no other. It is all between you and the processes of life, and whatever your beliefs are about life, you and others are exactly what we experience. And of course, this takes development. We can't just wake up one morning and decide to stop fearing life, self, and others. But what we can do is start investigating the beliefs that we have that have kept us separating from being our free, radiant selves, and heal them. When we go quantum, it is never about being reckless and taking stupid risks, just as it's not about putting blind faith in others. Rather, it's about being yourself, showing up authentically. And to me, the biggest part about being authentic is this: I'm no longer going to be shackled by the fears of being criticized, rejected, abandoned, or punished. And thank you for the person in the community that brought to my attention that acronym, because I use it a lot, about being criticized, rejected, abandoned, and punished. It's actually crap. CRAP. How cool is that? So we're no longer shackled with crap. What happens is we've healed those young parts of ourselves that were never developed and healed enough to not dumb down, which didn't have the sophistication to have the adult, straight, difficult conversations, and was appeasing everybody to avoid being hurt, and who used to be everything we thought somebody else approved of enough so that we could be loved and safe, rather than partnering with our own inner being and being able to show up authentically. And if we are anchored in our body as an eternal, infinite being, and the more we shift out trauma, the more we just get ultimate truths come through us. We know that ultimately death is impossible because we will never not exist. And that's when we can truly live. And we know that death can only be experienced while we are alive as the constriction of our life force because of being clogged up with fear, fearing life. That's when we're actually really dead because we're not living. Depending on our beliefs, many of us actually believe that when we die, we will live the most because we will leave the denseness of our fear behind. Our real truth now, our true purpose to living this life is to go quantum to the level where we've released our trauma and we show up as a true self. Then I promise you, narcissists and narcissism will become not your reality. And this is actually how we can heal ourselves, our future generations, and this world from narcissism. So that's it for this episode. I'd love you to come over to the blog to join in the conversation, and I love replying to all of your comments and your questions there, as many as I can. So come over to blog.melanietoniaevans.com. So till next time, keep healing, keep smiling, and keep thriving because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.